First at 5:30, in the wake of two mass shootings, the president is condemning the violence.
These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
The nation mourning dozens of lives lost.
Social media in the spotlight. The president calling for changes to how online posts are monitored.
Also, repairs on the Red Line now expected to continue into the fall. The T officials adjusting their timeline after that derailment.
And a day on the water taking a turn for some Florida fishermen when they run into a diver in danger.
7 News at 5:30 starts now. Now on 7.
America weeps for the fallen.
The president condemning 2 mass shootings. A deadly day in America. Leaves the country shaken and shocked.
The death toll from the 2 mass shootings now stands at 31.
The tragedies happening just hours apart in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. Authorities say 22 people were killed when a gunman opened fire in a busy shopping area in El Paso Saturday morning. In Dayton, investigators say 9 people were killed within 30 seconds when a shooter opened fire there. Adam Williams in the newsroom with the very latest on both those investigations.
Heartbreaking to yet again have to talk about these sorts of incidents. It was one of the darkest weekends in recent memory, and today 2 more victims died as a result of their injuries. In Texas, 22 people were killed, more than 24 others injured when a man opened fire at a Walmart. Again, this is El Paso, Texas. Cell phone video shows this person hiding, other people running, and police moving in as the gunshots rang out. Police did arrest a 21-year-old man who they say was targeting Hispanic people. Investigators say he published a manifesto online 20 minutes before the shooting that expressed his hatred for Hispanics. The suspected gunman has been charged with capital murder and does face the death penalty. And then just hours after that horrific incident, another one. This time a man shot and killed 9 people in a popular entertainment district in Dayton, Ohio. Surveillance video shows people scrambling to safety there. Police shot and killed the 24-year-old gunman less than 30 seconds after he began shooting. And again, killed all those people and injured others. So far, police have not announced a motive. Investigators say one of the people killed was the gunman's own sister. During a speech earlier today, President Trump condemned the shootings.
We are outraged and sickened by this monstrous evil, the cruelty, the hatred, the malice, the bloodshed, and the terror. Our hearts are shattered for every family whose parents, children, husbands, and wives were ripped from their arms and their lives. America weeps for the fallen.
President Trump went on to say mental health and violent video games are partly to blame for these types of mass shootings. Democrats say the president's rhetoric, though, is fueling hate, and they want to vote on gun control measures. Live in the newsroom, I'm Adam Williams, 7 News.
The president also putting social media under the microscope. The president wants companies to do a better job of detecting red flags and potential mass shooters.
Run, Mija, run.
In the wake of the tragedies in El Paso, Texas and Dayton, Ohio, President Trump is calling for greater policing of online posts to identify threats before they happen.
We must shine light on the dark recesses of the internet and stop mass murders before they start.
The El Paso shooter is believed to have posted a hate-filled manifesto on an internet message board prior to the shooting.
The perils of the internet and social media cannot be ignored, and they will not be ignored.
The president is directing the Department of Justice to work with local police departments and social media companies to develop tools to detect mass shooters before they strike. But is large-scale policing of the internet possible?
There's just so much content online that there's no good way to see and vet it all.
There are computer programs out there right now that monitor public posts for keywords, phrases, and hashtags. But experts say one challenge is analyzing and predicting what's a real threat.
You could just as easily say, something like, oh, I want to kill that guy, and not mean it.
Then there's the question of, can law enforcement monitor private posts or personal chats? Experts say police would need permission from websites, and many have privacy agreements with their users.
Scanning those kinds of posts today would require, in many cases, a warrant.
And that's not a warrant that the government is going to get in mass. They're not going to be able to say, let us scan everybody, post because we suspect everybody could potentially be a shooter. That's just not going to happen.
But for family members who've lost loved ones in mass shootings, they want action. Lori Alhadeff's daughter was killed in the Parkland school shooting. She welcomes more online policing.
I think that people need to be accountable for what they're posting on social media, and there needs to be more of a sense of alertness or what happens when that information goes out there.
Social media companies do have policies that let users report troubling posts to the network. Experts say if you see something you think needs immediate attention, call police. Stay with the news station for the latest on these deadly mass shootings. Find the latest on our website. That's WHDH.com and on the 7 News app.
Trouble on the tracks continues. The MBTA is clarifying its timetable for repairs on the Red Line after that June derailment. Officials now say repairs are expected to continue into October. Justin Doherty is live in Dorchester with the latest on this new timetable.
And Ryan, Red Line commuters have been experiencing those extended delays since early June when that derailment happened. And now the MBTA says those repairs won't be complete for another 2 months.
We're kind of slow, and it's kind of been an inconvenience.
The MBTA causing concern.
Performance has been really bad.
And frustration for commuters once again.
It really does suck. Every morning it stops like in Andrew for 10 minutes.
The latest announcement, the Red Line repairs the MBTA said would take at least until Labor Day, now won't be done until October at earliest.
The trains just aren't running as quickly as they can when we're fully automatic. We're not fully automatic yet.
It's not the news most commuters wanted to hear.
I don't think it's acceptable, and they raise fares.
I just want to get to work on time so I don't have to get in trouble when I do make it to work.
The MBTA says repairs to the signal system were necessary after this derailment at the JFK UMass stop in June. It was the second T derailment in 4 days.
Because there was such tremendous damage, there is an emphasis on this area of the Red Line, but we have repairs going on across the system.
Now commuters will have to continue to plan accordingly.
They tell you to make time for 10 minutes or 15 minutes extra for your time, and that's what I've been doing.
Now, the MBTA also said today they plan to make smaller repairs throughout these 2 months to help alleviate some of these delays. Live in Dorchester, Justin Doherty, 7 News.
A South Boston woman accused of an assault in Harvard Square last week facing a judge today. Joanna Drafal is accused of spitting at and assaulting a person with disabilities. The 21-year-old is charged with assault and battery on a disabled person. Police say they were able to find the suspect after asking for the public's help.
Transit police also arresting a man accused of assaulting a woman at North Station. Police say the 26-year-old followed a woman exiting the train and assaulted her from behind. Now, police were able to locate the suspect in the commuter rail lobby. He was identified by the victim and then taken into custody.
Also on 7, the Florida man who sent pipe bombs to CNN and prominent Democrats last year was sentenced today. Cesar Sayoc will spend 20 years in prison. The 57-year-old pleaded guilty last fall. Prosecutors had asked for a life sentence in the case. His attorneys argued Sayoc was paranoid and delusional because of a series of traumatic events. And back in October, Sayoc sent bombs through the mail to several targets, including former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. None of those devices detonated.
Singer R. Kelly now facing new charges out of Minnesota. Prosecutors say the investigation dates back here to 2001. Kelly faces 2 counts of prostitution and solicitation involving a girl under the age of 18. Now, Kelly remains behind bars in New York after pleading not guilty to federal charges that he sexually abused several women. One of the alleged victims speaking out today.
For Mr. Kelly's defense team to call victims, who were all mostly underage, remorseful groupies, is the most desperate attempt to once again take responsibility off of a predator and throw it onto minors who could not legally consent to sex with Mr. Kelly.
Kelly has denied all allegations.
We're following more news today. Senator Rand Paul is on the mend after surgery last weekend. The Kentucky Republican had an operation to remove part of his lung. He says the procedure was tied to an incident back in 2017. He was attacked by a neighbor over a pile of yard trimmings. Paul says he'll be back on the Senate floor in September.
Senator Mitch McConnell also on the road to recovery. His office says he fell in his Kentucky home and fractured his shoulder. McConnell was treated and is now working from home.
7 News now to a scare at sea. 2 fishermen say they rushed to the rescue of a diver who was possibly bitten by a shark. And tonight we're seeing what happened after that dangerous dive.
We're also hearing from the Good Samaritans who stepped in to help. Disturbing video shows the bloody aftermath of a possible shark attack off the Florida coast.
I've been fishing for 10+ years out here, and I've never, ever seen anything like that.
The chaos began as a normal day of fishing about a mile off the shore of Key Biscayne. All of a sudden, the fishermen were flagged down by a group of divers. One of them appeared to be seriously wounded.
Put his arm up like this, and you just saw blood all over, and we were like, okay, gotta go.
The fishermen then pulled the possible shark attack victim out of their boat, where they got a closer look at the severity of the injuries.
Each finger cut wide open, big cut right here. He had a hole about that big in his arm, but you could see the, triangular kind of shark teeth.
Once on board, the crew began stabilizing the victim until they got to shore.
We had to bandage his hand, his whole left arm. It looked like his elbow from the shoulder down to the hand was torn up by definite sharp bites.
When they finally made it back to land, first responders were there waiting. They loaded the bleeding victim onto the back of an ambulance and rushed him to the hospital. This was not the only dangerous dive in Florida over the weekend. Officials said 3 more people were bitten in 2 separate attacks. Fortunately, those injuries were minor. As for the diver, the fisherman who came to his aid said they're thankful they were at the right place at the right time.
We're lucky we had the nurses. Thank God everything worked out. Hopefully he's doing good.
And right now, the hospital has not provided an update on the diver's condition.
Still ahead, a reunion that tugs at the heartstrings. A mother hears how her late son saved a life.
Then ahead at 6 o'clock, the Kennedy family gathering on the Cape to say their final farewells to Saoirse Kennedy Hill.
And we're following breaking news. A suspect is in custody. Boston police say he assaulted a woman in the South End. It's all coming up right here on 7 News. We're back.